I was looking for a good cheap soundbar, so I picked up this. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, I picked up this soundbar and I wanted to connect it to my Hisense TV. So my Hisense Roku smart TVs are great, and one of the great things about it is that it has a headphone jack that is controlled by the remote control. So if you turn off the TV speakers, you can just plug in any speaker with a 3.5mm cord, and basically it's the simplest soundbar setup that I've ever seen. Now, you can use like HDMI ARC, you can use your optical audio out, but I just like keeping it simple. KISS. Kiss me, yeah. So I picked up this because it was only 50 bucks and it seemed to get pretty good reviews, but I thought we would check it out. So soundbars can be hundreds of dollars easily, but for me, again, 80-20 rule, I'm looking for 80% of the value and 20% of the cost, and this might just do it. Now, a couple things about soundbars that's kind of important to know. I've seen soundbars for $30 or $40, but a lot of those are actually meant for computers. And so what you can see here is that this thing is probably about 3 feet long. It's got the size of a traditional TV soundbar, but it's actually pretty flat. It's actually pretty narrow too, and so I think it's going to fit in a lot of places. Now, biggest thing about this is the length here at 3 feet. When those sound bars are made for computers, they really only tend to be a foot, maybe a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet. And so in pictures, they look like giant TV sound bars, but when you get them, you realize how small they are. So this one is pretty nice because I am not going to actually put it underneath the TV. I'm actually going to put it behind the TV because the TV has about this much clearance. So my thought is I can just put it underneath and behind, and it'll use the crack underneath the TV to project the sound. Now you can see here that it's got speaker grates over it. You can see the speakers kind of behind it. There's really two big speakers on either side. That's where the big work of the soundbar comes in, and then I think we have some resonators right here. We also have an LCD panel up front, and then this brushed aluminum looking, I think this is all just plastic, but it's got a really nice modern contemporary look. And then some controls here. You've got power and mode and volume buttons right there. So you get all that, and again, kind of a low rent LCD on the front. Now, you do have glossy plastic. There's a slight curvature to it. You can see this. So if we look at the front, how it's flat, you do have a slight curvature on the top and the bottom, so it kind of pinches a little bit to the back. But then on the back, we do have some of the holes, so you can put in screws into the wall, attach this to the wall if you like. And see those just stick out a little bit. We also have two rubber feet, so you don't have to worry about it resonating, rattling on top of a stand, a TV stand. And then on the back, suddenly I just became German. On the back here, we have all the plugs that you might need here. So we have power. It looks like kind of your typical RCA single prong jack right there. We have USB. We have the aux jack right there, 3.5mm. And then we have the optical port right there. So again, you can connect this in all the traditional ways. Now, if we look at what we get in the box here, we also get a 2-prong power block, which I am going to need. We also get a fairly nice looking remote here. It's kind of curved. It's just plastic. It's very light. Once you put in your batteries, which are 2 AAA batteries, will probably add a little weight to it. Once I usually get this dialed in terms of the sound and audio settings, then I usually don't touch these. I usually don't control the volume through this. I usually control it through the TV, and at least on the Hisense or the TCL TVs, that's how you do it. But we do have the forward advance buttons here. This is really good if you've got a flash drive in there with songs. You can use this to control the music. And then we have the input selector right up there, which you'll probably use. We also have a couple of presets, it looks like here: movie, music, and dialogue. So I think it'll equalize, for dialogue, kind of raise the trebles, for movie, kind of raise the bass probably, and then you can do some manual adjustments with treble and bass with these buttons. So you do have a remote right there. Now, I also want to show you that it does come with an optical cable as well as the screws to mount it to the wall, which is kind of nice. It does come with a manual, and then here are the pieces I'm going to use. So we do have a headphone jack to RCA connector. This is for kind of your older TVs usually, but right here is the cord that I'm going to use. I'm going to use the 3.5mm cord. It's double-ended. One has an L 90-degree bend to it, and so I am really just going to plug it in, power, and then the 3.5mm jack, and we will try it out. So let's get to it. And so I do have this set up now underneath this TV, and what I love about this is you can see the height of this speaker, which is only about 2.5 inches, maybe 3 inches tall, fits completely underneath the TV with the standard legs. So I can actually put this and put it flush up with the TV here, and it's just a great looking fit. I can't even fit my finger in there. It's just serendipitous, but you can see here, even with this 65-inch TV, we get a pretty nice size soundbar. So I'm getting the maximum amount of value out of a small size. Now, I will say I've got this plugged in an aux, but before I turn on the speaker and broadcast out of there, I wanted to take a look at what the audio quality is from the internal TV speakers and compare that. Again, it's probably not going to be the greatest comparison when you're trying to demonstrate audio quality differences through a video camera and the built-in microphone here, but we're going to do it anyway because that's what we do. All right, I realize no one seems to like this video, although it's well made, but I'm using it because it doesn't seem to get me in trouble with the copyright police. And I've got it turned up here to a volume where I would listen to it. It's probably a little louder than comfort level, but I really wanted to try to capture as much detail as possible. Now, the sound that's built into these TVs is just a little bit thin, a little bit tinny. There isn't as much bass because they don't have, big speakers. So I'm just gonna let this run here for a few seconds. This is without the soundbar. All right, same place, trying to play the same clip. Okay, I want to show you. I'm going to turn the volume down here because I've got this thing plugged into the headphone jack, and volume still works, which is great. And you might not have been able to see there. Again, it's hard on video, but I can tell you that there is a lot more bass. In fact, I can hear it vibrating my table here sometimes, because there is so much bass to this particular song. The other thing that's really clear to me is that all of the audio is just enhanced, right? The trebles are clearer, the bass is louder, and you just get more projection. So you definitely get more of that surround sound. At least the stereo left and right is much more pronounced here, and it's just a whole different listening experience. Again, probably hard to pick up on camera, but I can tell you what, if you were sitting and watching movies with the built-in speakers on the TV, which on this one, on this Hisense, they're really good. I think you don't have to do anything, but a $50 or $55 upgrade like this soundbar, man, just really raises that experience. And now you have, for very little money, I think, just a really good home theater experience, but on the cheap. So I'm really, really impressed with this. If you want to pick it up, I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out. Because when those soundbars are made for TVs,